This is a Clearview podcast.
Welcome to Carpe Manana, the show where we talk about how to capture tomorrow today. And I'm so excited about today's episode. Let's start off, go around the circle, and introduce you to your host today.
I'm Dr. Abidan Shah.
I'm Kelsey McKeel.
I'm Rebecca Shaw.
I'm John Galantis.
I'm David Williamson.
And I am Ryan Hill. And guys, it is the beginning of the episode. You know what time it is.
Star Trek mugs.
Not,
Hold on one
no.
second.
I mean, that is
Star
cool,
Trek?
but
There it
that's
is.
not what time it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
What
I
time
have-
is it then, Ryan?
I have the office mug that has my face on it.
That's pretty cool.
I love it, Ryan.
Very nice.
Twinning over
Very
here.
nice.
I've got mine
Very
too.
nice.
Nice.
I have
Themed
mine
nice.
in the office.
Yeah.
But it is time for
Clock the
Socks.
Oh, yeah, baby.
It is time for Clock the Socks. You were
Clock
so
the
loud in
Socks.
your microphone.
Sorry
just now.
about that. Yeah, I can see the audio. It has peaked.
So we're going to go around. We're going to present our submissions. And ladies, if you want to offer your judgment on who has the
I'm
best
actually
socks.
competing this
Oh,
time.
yes. I was
Okay.
hoping you were, Rebecca.
Yeah, I'm competing this time. That's why I
Yes.
have bright orange socks
I
on.
love
Okay.
it.
Nothing
Then-
sillier than orange.
Oh,
Well,
there's
Just
more
wait.
to it.
I'm sure
Oh,
there
okay.
is.
Okay. All right. Well, John, go ahead and start us off.
If you guys are anything like me, and I think a lot of you are, you often sit at home at night wondering, what would Ron Weasley look like if he had a mustache? Well, fret no more.
I have wondered that very
Fret
thing.
no more, because now that question is a thing of the past.
Who is he?
Ron Weasley is Harry Potter's good friend at Hogwarts, and
Oh.
that is what he would look like with a mustache. Take the mustache away, you just got Ron Weasley.
Okay.
Chump.
Sure.
A chump wad, if I may. Now he's got a mustache.
I thought he
His
was.
mustache.
I mean,
you were wearing the socks for what's the guy in?
Like Ed Sheeran?
no. I was thinking for Batman, Spider-Man. Spider-Man's one of his
The
nemesis.
Green Goblin? Oh, Doc Ock.
No,
Yeah, with the
no. The other guy, the one who turns into sand.
That's what I was going to
Oh,
say. The
Sandman.
stripes look like
Sandman.
Sandman's shirt.
Okay.
Yeah.
The
I thought it was
stripes do look
Sandman.
like
These
Sandman's
These socks
shirt.
are deceptive because you think, oh, there's stripes. Nothing silly about that.
yeah.
It works on two very different levels.
Wow.
Yeah, that's definitely not Sandman.
No, this is not
No,
Sandman.
no.
This is, I would say, this was, I'd say this is Ron Weasley with a mustache type.
Okay, shoot.
But anyway,
Okay,
that's my entry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I guess I'm next. So I have some simple socks, simple silly socks. It's white with, this says Savage.
Okay.
So
Okay.
nothing
Okay,
too
so it's like
I thought it was
crazy.
Sauvage.
Sauvage. Yes.
Omelette du
Sauvage.
fromage.
Yes, I am very
it.
complex.
Shout out to
Progressive.
Dexter's
Cool.
Lab.
Very nice. Very nice. I have SpongeBob today.
Hey!
SpongeBob socks. That's pretty cool.
SpongeBob,
Yeah, there's the laugh. There it is.
Very
Nice.
nice.
You have converted, huh?
Yes. I was inspired by your SpongeBob socks, so I brought mine out today.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like it.
SpongeBob socks.
All right, Dr. Shaw,
Oh,
let me
me?
see. Yeah.
I just went old school and I have tapes.
Ooh.
Very nice.
Retro. I like
So it's
it.
a retro
Yeah.
tape
Like
look.
that. Very nice.
Some like cassettes.
Nice.
Yeah, I like
I
that.
like
Yeah.
it. Very vintage.
That's awesome.
Retro.
Very nice.
Nice.
Reminds me
Nice.
of my childhood. I like it.
There it is.
You grew up with cassette tapes?
I did.
Yeah.
I
My
so
goodness.
did.
Yeah, bud.
Wow.
Wow.
All right, what you
I-
got?
Let's see
all
Rebecca.
right. I got fox socks.
Oh,
Fox
yes.
socks.
Oh, wait,
those
you got
are very
hold
cool.
on.
Wait.
You can't see the.
I
Is there a better angle to get?
Your
No.
camera is here. Your camera is here.
Cute.
know. I got been
There you
my
go. There you
You
go.
gotta get the fox.
Cute.
There, you go, the fox
Nice.
face.
There it is.
I like them.
What is that, like
that.
leaves and stuff above the fox, like in the golden forest? Something?
Yes.
It's
Okay.
cute. And they're warm and
Seasonal.
fuzzy.
and they are warm and
so
fuzzy.
That's
Very
important.
cute.
Foxes
for
are
a
natural
sock.
predators, which is not very silly.
That is extremely silly. What are you
Oh,
talking about?
shoot, really?
Have you heard the song, What Does the Fox Say?
I
It's a very
have,
silly
yeah.
song.
Oh, gosh.
That is an unfortunate song,
All
but
right.
it is also silly.
It is also
Yeah.
silly.
So,
All right, Kelsey, you got to be the judge then, since Rebecca's competing.
that's right. I
Mine
know.
also rhymed. Fox
It's true.
socks.
Fox
Fox
socks.
socks.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I love it.
SpongeBob socks does not rhyme.
No, SpongeBob
Fox and
Socks.
Socks, isn't that a Dr. Seuss book?
Yeah.
It
Fox
is a
and
Dr.
Socks?
Seuss book. That's fun. I'm
Yeah.
a fan of Dr. Seuss.
Who do you
all
think's
know
gonna
We
win?
all know where,
Why?
where this trophy is going.
Why?
I mean, is there any
No.
reason to pretend it's anywhere else? Here you go,
Yay,
Rebecca.
Rebecca.
Congratulations.
Congrats on your
Fox and
first-
Socks.
Foxy Rebecca.
I don't want to put it on the Bible.
Here, I'll move the Bible.
Move the Bible
Move
so
the
we
Bible
can
so
display
we
the
can-
sock trophy.
Yeah.
That's a sentence I never thought I'd say.
I really kind of want to cut it from the podcast.
No.
I wish you would.
No, just
John, do you have any fan mail for us today?
I do have some fan mail. I got this just this morning. This is from Beth P. Dr. Shaw, what do you think the P stands for?
Oh. Good grief. P.
Peekaboo.
Pastrami.
Papa John's.
Pastrami.
Beth Pastrami.
Pastrami.
Very
I like
cool.
it.
We very
Beth
food-
Pastrami.
Yeah.
Peekaboo.
All right. Beth Pastrami writes, "Hey guys, I listened to the marriage episode that you guys did with Nicole last week, and it inspired me to go back and listen to Dr. Shaw's and Nicole's messages in the Operation series. I have to say, my husband and I have really benefited from those messages. I've only gotten through Operation Safeguard, but both parts really helped us identify some weaknesses that we both want to work on. Congratulations, Kelsey, on the Silly Sock win. Ursula always used to scare me when I was a kid, but I also thought you deserved the victory. Praying Dr. Shaw nabs his first trophy soon."
Aw.
I hate to get the cold shoulder on that one, Beth, because I also haven't won, but
I thought you won one time.
I have not won one yet. It's a
Really?
conspiracy.
It
yeah.
was
Well,
it was me, you, and John that didn't win yet, but now it's just you.
Now it's just us
Just
two.
us.
So
wow.
thank you, Beth. I appreciate you writing in. I don't appreciate getting the snub, but it is what
Hey,
it is.
thank
at
you for
that
going
point.
and checking out those marriage series. That's
Yes.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like,
That
you
one
did
is
the
cool. I do
podcast and then
appreciate
went and
that.
listened to the
That
to
was
the
cool.
messages. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys ready to dive into our topic for today?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, guys, on today's episode, we're talking about something that I think all of us can relate to on some level. We're talking about mistakes, but not just mistakes. How do you respond to mistakes? How do you recover from mistakes? I mean, mistakes, depending on where we're thinking about, whether it's in your personal life, whether it's in your work setting, they can cause you to feel this sense of paralysis, this sense of being locked down. Like, I don't want to make another mistake. I don't want to, do anything that's going to cause things to be even worse. But how do you respond when those mistakes come? Dr. Shaw, how can we begin this discussion? How should we even think about the idea of making mistakes?
Well, if you don't want to do anything in life, just don't make any mistakes.
Yeah.
Just don't do anything, and you won't make any mistakes, and everything will be just stay where it is.
Oh, sounds perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
All
Shoot.
right.
That was all right. Thank you for
But
tuning in.
if you want to do something in life, you'll have to do something, and there's a very good chance you're going to make some mistakes.
Mm.
And so mistakes are not, the end all be all of everything. It's just part of life. You have to learn from your mistakes and do things differently.
The thing that always got me was, like, I always heard that growing up, like, mistakes are part of life. Everybody makes mistakes. But I think once I really became an adult and started making those mistakes, especially in, like, a leadership environment, you don't realize how much, they don't tell you how much those mistakes sting.
Mm-hmm.
They don't tell you how much weight they actually bring and how much they
Yeah.
actually carry. So it's one thing completely to say, hey, we all make mistakes. But then your mind doesn't really process it that way when you're going through it. Like when you're
Would
actually.
you say that everyone makes mistakes? Everybody has those days.
It's like
Yeah,
a song.
I guess so.
Everybody
Is that a
knows
song?
what I'm
Yeah,
talking
it's
What is that?
Hannah Montana, bud. It's Hannah
Hey,
Montana.
Rebecca, I was making a good point.
I'm just
making a
saying.
good point. No, I'm just joking.
I'm just saying everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has those days. You know
Yeah.
what I'm talking about.
Everybody gets that way, obviously.
What the heck
I
was
was
I
glad
even
you said
talking
it, 'cause
about?
I was thinking it.
I think maybe this direction of the conversation was a mistake. So let's kind of direct it back onto
Let's
the
bring that
back
back.
onto the main path of discussion.
I'm not going to scold you on the air, but I would like to talk to you after.
I think for me, one of the biggest struggles has been like, it's one thing to say like, everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has times where they mess up or they make a wrong call or they maybe don't think as far ahead as they should. But I guess in my mind, I always feel like everybody is allowed to make mistakes except for me. Like
Yeah.
if I make a mistake, then there's something inherently wrong with me. Like I've missed some critical component and it's irreparable damage at that point. That's something that I've kind of battled back and forth with really for a while.
Well, I mean, I've been there, and I'll tell you, I've made some bad mistakes. I've made, I've been paralyzed from my mistakes for a while, just feeling just no confidence, feeling like, I don't deserve to be here, feeling, or not just here, but wherever I was at the point when I made those mistakes, felt so disheveled, felt so insecure from that point on. And so I know what you mean by that. I've been there. And when somebody says, "Oh, I've never made mistakes," you have to be careful because they're either naive or they're covering up. They're lying.
Yeah. And it also felt like a lot of time when those mistakes kept happening. Like for me, I went through a period where it felt like everything that I did was a mistake. And it was. I felt like I was constantly fumbling. I was constantly dropping the ball. Someone somewhere was causing trouble and I wasn't handling it correctly, or I was misreading it, or trying to just look on the bright side. And everything that I did, it felt like it had it would either backfire or it wasn't the appropriate response, to the point where I would start laying out all these scenarios in my head where it's like, okay, I could fix it this way, but that's going to backfire, so I'm not going to do it. And then I'll take a look at this option over here. I could respond like this, but then this could horribly go wrong, so we'll shelve that one. And I would do that with every single option that I had until the point where I was like paralyzed. I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to ignore it and hope it would go away on its own.
Or if I finally managed to make a choice and just kind of grit my teeth and go for it, it would horribly go wrong. And then it's like, oh, now I see the fifth choice that I didn't see before that would have been way better. I should have just done that. I'm so dumb. Why didn't I think of that in the first place? And down the spiral of insecurity we go.
Right.
Also, for me, I think helping, one thing that I did was I was really embarrassed to be making a lot of mistakes, or I would be like, it feels like all the mistakes that we're dealing with are coming from me and my lack of leadership. So I'm just going to try to keep this quiet, deal with it, instead of coming to the team and especially you and being like, hey, here's what I'm going through. Like, how can I do this? Like, what would you do? Rather than, no, I don't want to burden anybody else. I just want to kind of keep this quiet, keep it under wraps, or try to figure it out on my own so no one else has to deal with it. But it never worked. It never worked.
Yeah.
That's a great point, and I feel like a lot of times that's a common denominator with people who have that paralyzing fear that I've made mistakes. I don't want to make any more mistakes, so I'm just gonna not bring this up at all. But you are missing an opportunity to rely on other people. You're missing an opportunity to glean wisdom from other people, especially somebody like you, Dr. Shaw, who's been a leader longer than the rest of us combined. I mean, you've had way more experience than us.
Way more experience making mistakes too.
But I feel like we get this tunnel vision of just, this is my mistake, this is my mess, I have to fix this. When you neglect the opportunity to work with your team, you neglect the opportunity to benefit from the experiences of other people on your team.
Well, let me read to you guys a couple of quotes that I found. Abraham Lincoln said, "The person who is incapable of making a mistake is incapable of anything."
Yeah.
I think that's a good one. Another one here is Dr. William Mayo, who said, "The Lord delivered me from the man who never makes a mistake, and also from the man who makes the same mistake twice."
Yeah, that's true.
So, never makes a mistake. I don't know about that. Either you're lying, or you just don't attempt anything significant, or don't attempt anything significant at all.
Yeah.
You are covering up or whatever, and making the same mistakes and keep making the same mistakes, and something's wrong there. You're not learning.
Yeah. I feel like, at least for me, the fear of making mistakes really comes down to like the fear of failure. Like, I don't want to fail. If I put my mind to something and I really want to accomplish, or I want to be good at something, then failing at that makes me kind of like, okay, I don't want to do that. But one thing that I've read, and it's a John Maxwell thing, that talks about the only true failure is when you either fail to learn from your mistake, or when you fail to, I think it's like move forward, like the paralyzation thing. That's something that's helped me. And the funny thing is, even still after reading it, it's not something that's easily implemented. It's like, okay, you know what? That's right. And then you fail, and then it's like, I'm just going to wait, and I'm not going to keep doing this. And then you still struggle with it, even though you know what the truth might be.
I think that the way that some people handle mistakes, it has a lot to do with the way they were raised. Some people were raised that if you made a mistake, it was just the end of the world. And some people were raised where if you make a mistake, try again. And it depends on what it is. It depends on what it is too. But I think that some people struggle with that because they were raised in a way that said you can't make mistakes. I feel like some parents raise their kids that way. And I think that's a mistake. I think that if you do that, you're setting your kids up for failure, actually.
You need a balance, right? You need a balance where it's not just like, hey, guys, it's okay, no big deal. No, you got to learn from your mistakes.
Yeah, because
There's-
a lot of people don't realize, and I didn't realize when I first started, that your mistakes do hold that weight. Like there are people who are listening to this podcast who, if they make like mistakes at their job, it's not like this introspective, like, oh, I was afraid of failing and now I feel like, it's like, no, millions of dollars could be on the line.
Right.
You know, so
Our
they-
lives can be on the
yeah,
line.
lives could be on the line.
You can't afford to make a mistake.
Yeah.
Let's say you're doing something that involves someone's life,
Right.
You know, or whatever that avenue may be, whether it's driving a bus or building a house or working in the medical field or whatever it is where people's lives are at stake. So you
There are
can't.
certain jobs you don't want to hear the word "oops."
Yeah, like
You don't want to hear
I
that
don't want a
word.
surgeon to come out and be like, so,
Oops.
I messed up.
yeah, spaghetti-o, I goofed.
Right.
Yeah.
So don't be paralyzed by your mistakes, but definitely learn from them. Learn from them what? Learn from them some principles. Don't just walk away blaming somebody. Don't just walk away, absolving yourself like, oh, you know what? Everybody makes mistakes. I made mistakes. So what? Well, so what? So what? You didn't learn anything from it.
Yeah.
Are you planning on changing some things? Are you planning on redoing some things, making things right? Or are you just going to give yourself a pass? A lot of people give themselves a pass, and it's all on, I'm just, you got to show yourself grace. Yeah, show yourself grace.
Yeah.
Don't hold that over your head and don't live in insecurity forever and ever. But learn from it.
It's kind of funny because when you said that, like the only thing that really popped in my mind was like King David after he did his whole thing with Bathsheba and Uriah, and he's like, you know what? I gotta show myself grace. I know I messed up, but I really gotta work
really
on
learn
me.
some self-care here.
Yeah.
Like I need to learn to forgive
No,
myself.
that's yeah.
Yeah.
When in reality, I mean, that was a mistake that cost him the kingdom. Like, of course, he was still the king, but after that, didn't it split?
Oh yeah, I mean after look at his own family, right? David was an amazing man of God, man after God's own heart. Wrote some amazing things like Psalm 23, on and on and on. But his family life was terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, he raised a son who, on one hand, just knew the heart of God and knew how to pray and ask God for wisdom. The most important thing he needed as a ruler, and the God answered his prayer, but not only giving him wisdom, but everything else. But on the flip side, Solomon did not know how to, maintain his relationship with his wife.
Right.
1,000 wives and concubines, and building altars to strange gods. I mean, he just really blew it.
Yeah.
So in that area, David did not do a good job.
Yeah, and he can't just be like, well, everybody messes up, everybody makes mistakes, it's all good. Like your mistakes just changed the face of human history.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because from after Solomon did what he did, God told him, because of this, the kingdom that was given to your father is going to be taken from you and be rent, torn into two halves. And it did. After Solomon died, the kingdom split into northern and southern, Israel and Judah, and northern kingdom gone forever, and southern kingdom stayed, but many were gone too. So what a heavy price to pay for a
Yeah.
mistake.
It's kind of funny because I know we were talking about this earlier this week. I don't remember the day, but I remember we were talking about, and I don't ever want to make it seem like, okay, now we're going the opposite end where mistakes are like, you can't recover from a mistake, because that's not what we're saying. But you said something along the lines of there are people who make mistakes, with how they do this, how maybe they raise their children, or maybe how they lead, and then they expect when they pray and they seek God, they expect him to just be like, you know what, I'll reverse everything. And it's like, no, you still have to see the consequences.
There's a
of that
law
mistake.
of sow
Consequences are
and
there.
reap,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And that law is still operating. And so yes, God's going to give you grace to get through this whatever you're struggling with, or your children or whatever. God's going to give you strength. God's going to give you wisdom, but you still will have to weather as in face the consequences of that sin,
Right.
of that decision that you made 30 years ago, but you have to still deal with it now. So, yeah.
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 And I think it's also crazy, like how short-sighted we can be. Like I would never think in a million years that when I'm 50 or 60, I'll be paying for the sins that I commit today. You know, that's not even on my radar, and yet it still happens. And I think another thing that I've done in the past, and I think that we all tend to do, is that when you make a mistake, it's all about penance. It's not about doing better. It's just I need to show everyone I feel terrible. I feel terrible. I need to remind myself that I feel terrible. I'm going to remind myself what a failure I am, and hopefully this will never happen again. But like, what are you going to do?
Right.
Like, what are you going to do to make sure it never happens?
Are you going to grow from this?
Yeah.
Are you going to be bigger than that mistake? You know, like someone said, a big man is not one who makes no mistakes, but one who is bigger than any mistakes he makes. So I think that's a very good point. Have you grown from it?
I know you said earlier, like you could be paying in your 50s for mistakes you make now.
Yeah.
But your kids could pay for the mistakes you
That's
make,
true. That's
and it could. I mean, your grandkids could pay. It depends on what the mistake is.
Yeah.
But even if you make a mistake, even if it was like a personality mistake, I guess if that makes sense, or a habit mistake. What I've heard is that you'll get that tenfold in your grandchildren if you're not careful.
And I think it's very dangerous, because I think a lot of people out there, because we're operating from a Christian mindset, a very biblical mindset, but people out there could listen to that and be like, oh, well, that doesn't apply to me. But it's still true, and you see it all the time in the secular world, but people don't put it together.
Right.
They would never in a million years think, I cheated on my wife here, or I did this here. Now my grandkids are going through similar problems, but they can't be related because they're not operating from that biblical mindset.
Even from a secular worldview, that has something to do with it.
Yeah.
I mean, those habits do streamline. It is spiritual, it is Christian, but also from a secular mindset, people will agree with that.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it actually has something to do with the mind.
Right. Well, prevention is better than cure. So
Right.
the goal of our podcast today is not to tell you, oh, you made mistakes, you're going to pay for this for yourself.
Yeah.
It's to encourage you and warn you, don't make those mistakes. But if you do make some mistakes, this is part of life. So learn from them, and don't repeat those mistakes.
Yeah.
Get some principles out of them. Talk to people who are ahead of you in the game of life, who understand life, who have maturity. I would add Christian maturity.
Right.
They live by the Bible. They live by God's wisdom. Talk to people like that, and invite them into your life to be your mentors, people you can trust, right? Not just anybody. You don't want to share your mistakes with people who will broadcast them everywhere. So talk to people who genuinely love the Lord and genuinely care about you, and then see what principles you can learn. And don't let that one mistake completely sabotage your future, leave you paralyzed, scared, insecure, having no confidence in making any more decisions. I don't want to make any decisions. Y'all make the decision. Have you met people like that who do that?
Oh, I've done that in the
Yeah.
past.
It's like he's like, hey guys, what do you want to do? Don't ask me. I am not gonna say a word. And I've been in settings like that.
Yeah.
With families and friends and church settings and people I don't know, but I'm somehow connected to them because of something I'm helping them with, and they'll say that, and immediately I'm like, there sits somebody across from me who made a decision at one point, and it was a horrible mistake, and they are paralyzed. So they're so afraid to walk down that path. And I'm like, okay, all right. And I guess that's their life. But hopefully somebody else will make the mistake. I mean, make the decision.
Make the decision.
Don't make the
don't
maybe make
Not
a
the
mistake, but maybe make a right decision.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. Man, what a great concept. No matter where you are, whatever field you're working in, whether you're thinking about your personal life, your work life, church life, ministry, mistakes are going to happen. I mean, you should avoid them. You should work to avoid mistakes, not just be like, okay, well, whatever, mistakes are going to happen. You should work to avoid them, but at the same time, you should recover well from your mistakes. And you should learn from your mistakes, and you should grow as a result of your mistakes.
Because if you make a mistake and you're not learning anything from that mistake, basically now all you've done is waste all those consequences, all the suffering that everybody's gone through as a result of that mistake. You've just wasted all of that, and everybody's gone through all of that for nothing because you haven't learned anything from it. So literally nothing was gained from that mistake.
Right. And the only person who didn't have to learn from his mistakes was the one who didn't make any, and that's Jesus.
Right.
Yeah.
All of us do learn from our mistakes, and we have to admit that we are human and we made a mistake and ask God's grace and seek godly counsel and move forward.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny that you say that, because even though he didn't make any mistakes, he paid for all of ours.
That's
so
right.
That's
it's
true.
kind of funny.
Yeah.
Very true.
That's 100% true.
Man, guys, right into the show. Let us know what you thought about today's episode, what your big takeaway from today was. You can send us an email to carpemanana@clearviewbc.org. And we'd love hearing from you guys. If you have any questions about maybe some scenarios in your life, some people that you know have made mistakes and how they can recover, send us an email. We'd love to discuss that with you. Love to know what you're taking away from the episode. You guys ready for our last segment?
Let's do it.
All right.
All right. All right, guys, it is the last segment of the show, and this week's segment is advice no one asked for. Advice nobody asked for. And is this my week?
Yeah, if it's awkward to, you want me to explain it and then I'll kick it to you? So it's not
I mean,
like,
I think
hey,
it
it's
feels
my
awkward to kind of like
weekend.
toss the ball and like
and
catch
then
it
catch it
myself.
yourself.
So
Yeah.
I'll kick it to you and then
Thanks.
take it back.
So advice no one asked for. If you've never seen the show, if this is your first episode, this is the segment where we give advice about things that are going right in our lives, things that maybe we've seen helped us a lot. And we kind of share it with each other. A lot of times it's met with roasting. It's met
Harsh
with
criticism.
really harsh criticism. And I did not expect that. But it's what the people want, because we've gotten a lot of fan mail about how they like that. So
That's true.
proceed with caution, Ryan.
Okay.
What is your advice
All right.
that no one asked for?
So my advice that no one asked for today is actually it's something I learned as a kid, and I can't pinpoint a time when I actually learned it, but I'm pretty sure my mom taught me this. As you are going about your day, whether you're at work and you're kind of walking through your job, or even at home, you're kind of walking around the house, just kind of take an inventory of what's around you in the room. And if you see something out of place, grab it with you and put it away as you go. So like if you're walking through your house and you see something that's sitting on the table that shouldn't be on the table, instead of just walking past it and going to do what you were going to do, pick it up, go put it away right then. And that'll keep messes from building up over time. That'll keep you from having to spend like, oh my gosh, we got to clean the house and it's going to take like 4.5 days.
Can you teach this to my fiance?
Oh my
Please.
goodness
Wow.
gracious!
That'd be great.
You couldn't,
He's not-
you couldn't
Eddie's
roast
been
him, so you
called
went for
out.
someone else.
Yeah, he's not even on the podcast.
love
You could have left that trash lying where it was. Kept on going.
let me preface this by saying I don't do this like super well. I don't do it all the time, but I've tried to make this a practice of like whenever I'm walking around, if I see something that's out of place, whether it's trash, whether it's something that I know this doesn't belong here, just pick it up and put it away right then.
I don't
It'll
do it
save
at
you
all.
it'll save you a lot of work down the road.
Yeah, I completely understand the value of it. I just am very terrible at practice because we do stuff like stuff is constantly in motion. Like even now, the cameras that we're filming the show on Sunday or on Saturday are going to go onto the stage for streaming the worship.
Yep.
And so a lot of times parts or like tripods or shoe mounts or whatever will be moved, and I'll be like, I think we're going to use it for that, but we may not use it for this. So I'm just not gonna touch it.
Yeah.
So then that always results on Saturday. It's like, all right, now I have to go move everything at once.
Yep.
I've been
So-
trying not to laugh at David for the last couple of seconds because he looks really guilty, and I know he is. I know you are, because we have conversations every day.
Oh.
And I come to David, and I'm like, please do something with this box.
As you were talking, I looked over and made eye contact with Rebecca.
Rookie
And
mistake.
I just felt this
Rookie
sinking
mistake. Like-
feeling in my stomach of like guilt and shame.
Oh wow.
I was piercing your soul, just so you know.
It's a small thing, and it may increase your like step count overall. You may have to take a few more steps than you normally would, but I think, and I found like in my personal life, it'll save you work in the long run.
I think it's a great idea, but here's the only like concern that I would just, to be devil's advocate, let me just give the other side of this coin.
Sure.
Don't you just feel like you're cleaning constantly?
Yes.
Just like
Yes,
always?
that's my life.
I hate that feeling, and I don't want to feel that way.
Not necessarily.
But then, okay, so if you don't clean up as you go, I'm going to take yours to a little bit more extreme.
Okay.
I clean up as I go. Every day I have to clean something. I just feel like I have to. When I wake up in the morning, I clean something, go to work, come back, clean something else. I have to. Or I feel like if I don't, I'll get behind. And then I'll have to spend a whole day cleaning. Why don't I just clean as I go?
Yeah, just do it as you go so it doesn't pile up.
Exactly.
I'm with you.
So Ellie's is like that, where she'll be like, hey, this shouldn't, like, so okay, so she's like, we're gonna clean the kitchen. All right, cool, let's clean the kitchen. So she'll take something out of the kitchen. This should not be in the kitchen. This belongs in the guest bedroom. She'll go take it in the guest bedroom. She's like, what the heck happened in here? Why is this supposed to be in our bedroom?
See,
so then she
That's
goes and
my
puts it in our
problem.
bedroom.
I get stuck in
So she
in
goes
that.
to the bedroom, and then she's like, all right, I'm done with that. Back to the bedroom. No, we're supposed to be cleaning the kitchen. I can't clean the kitchen until I know this guest bedroom is right.
Yeah.
So then she'll go take something to the living room. She's like, this living room is a wreck. All right, priority shift to the living room.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, I'm just going to go sit down. Because we're supposed to be in the kitchen.
If you do a little bit as you go, then you won't have that issue of like, I'm cleaning this, but then I have to go put this away, and then now I saw that was out of place, so now I'm going to put this away. You have less to do as you go. You're cleaning more often, but you're cleaning less when you clean.
I totally
think.
agree with that.
Yeah. Well, I'll pray for you, David.
Yeah.
I'll pray for you because.
Yeah.
Y'all pray for David as well, and send us an email to carpemanana@clearviewbc.org.
Speaking of David, shout out to the podcast shirt.
podcast
You
I
shirt.
wore the podcast shirt, and
Good
also
man.
as
Good man.
penance for last week, I brought this one.
Are you going to wear it? Are you going to wear both?
No,
Brought the
I
extra
just
podcast
thought
shirt.
maybe it could be like a little
Hold it up and show us the same
the
shirt.
same.
Like your shawl of penance.
How
for
do
not
you
wearing
have
it.
two shirts? How do you have the
hilarious.
same one?
So the reason that I have two shirts is because this is the little bragging moment. This is a large, which I can't fit anymore because it's too big. So I have a medium here. But I have two podcast shirt. One stays as a backup. And
But did you just love that green polo so much that you were like, I need to buy the same shirt but down a size?
It's a good shirt.
yeah,
Really?
yeah. I like the way it looks. I like. The
I mean,
trim.
I'm all for, hey, I can't wear a large anymore, so I need a medium. But it's like, I need a medium of that shirt.
I got one.
It's a good shirt.
I
Was
got
it
one-
because it was the podcast shirt? Or it's like, I just like a green
No,
polo?
I got this because I like the green,
Uh-huh.
and then it became the podcast shirt. But I also have it in red, and I have it in like a teal color.
Okay,
So shoot, I mean,
Sure. There you go.
All right. Well, shout
Let
out.
us know what you guys thought about it. Advice no one asked for. And if you want to comment on David's podcast shirt, you can do that too. Send us an email to carpemanana@clearviewbc.org. Make sure you guys are following us on Facebook, following on YouTube, all the podcasting platforms, so you can stay up to date with all of our content. And we'll see you guys next time on Carpe Manana.